this into another partisan fight, and I think it's actually disgusting, to be honest.
Do you think it was an unsung success, Mike?
I think, considering what Puerto Rico started with, that there were a lot of really well-intentioned, effective people in FEMA, career people in FEMA, career people in the National Guard, career people in the Corps of Engineers that are doing amazing work down there, and no one is going to give them any credit for the hard work they're putting in incredibly difficult circumstances, because this gets turned into a partisan fight to try and slam the president. So for the president to back up his people that he sent down there, and for him to have granted every single request that maybe Caitlin could correct me if I'm wrong, every single request for Puerto Rico that came across the president's desk, he said absolutely to.
Is it incumbent upon this president to grant requests, Anna, or is it just as the commander-in-chief that he should and his agencies should be prepared to deal with whatever level of storm there is? Go ahead, Anna, sorry.
Look, here's the thing. We knew Puerto Rico was an island, and it was going to present logistical issues because of that. We all knew Puerto Rico has been going through a very tough time economically. It's been, which has affected the infrastructure, which affected the electric grid. None of this was a surprise. That is why.
Or was it the president's fault that existed?
Nobody is saying that it was the president's fault.
Yes, you are, Anna.
What
yes,
I'm saying,
you are.
No, let me rephrase it for you in the event that you're having a hard time hearing or not understanding my accent.
Oh, I hear great.
What I'm saying is that it was not a surprise. We knew it was an island. It's been an island from the moment it was created. Therefore, there should have been more preparation.
Therefore, we should rate it differently when we're judging how the response is. Exactly right. I completely agree with you.
No, I'm not going to know, because American citizens are American citizens, whether they're in Puerto Rico, whether they're in Texas. And so if I know you're going to be needing more help because of your circumstances, I should be prepared to give
what should they
that
have done?
more
Should
help.
they set the comfort ship down during the storm, or should they have waited till after? What would you have done differently that all the requests that came from the island?
Well, Mike, I think that's an unfair question. She's not a safety official, not a FEMA official, but go on.
Listen,
well, exactly.
people like General Russell Honore, who was the guy on the ground after Katrina, after George W. Bush realized that there had been huge mistakes and had the humility to admit that he had made mistakes on Katrina. General Honore has said just what slow and lack of response there has been. Here in Florida, we had elderly citizens die in a home for the elderly because there was no power for 3 or 4 days. In Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory, a U.S. Commonwealth, U.S. citizens died because there was no electricity
for
terrible. Months and months and months.
It's tragic.
It's not been until a few weeks. Okay, and you're telling me that the U.S. government couldn't do more to provide generators?
What I'm telling you is
know
that the White House
died because they
every
couldn't get their
diet. So the Corps of Engineers,
they couldn't get their insulin
is down there doing what they can.
But no one's saying
so
that's
really what you're saying is you don't like the FEMA career people of the Corps of Engineers who you're really angry at.
No one is saying it's a success,
Puerto Rican
Mike.
Infrastructure.
Mike, no one is saying it's a success except for the president and you.
Look, it is not, we should never, I don't agree with calling it a success when people have died. If one person dies, that's terrible. We don't want to see that anywhere. But I also know that the president gets backed into a corner from partisan attacks, and this, just like everything else, becomes partisan, and we can't have a reasonable conversation about what we started with as infrastructure there when we start comparing it to Texas, which is a completely different infrastructure and state. It shouldn't be compared.
Let me ask you this.
But of course,
if you don't think it's a success,
that's a Republican
and you
state.
think people are backing the president to a corner, hold on, Anna. Don't you think he should reframe it or say it differently? Because it's not a success. He's saying it's a success. You are backing him up in something that's completely not true. Regardless of if they could have gotten more there or not, it didn't happen. So then why would you characterize it as a success? Why can't you say the president should not characterize it as
for the same, Don, for the same reason that the coverage of this should be fair. The coverage, why can't there be fair coverage? Why can't we assess Puerto Rico from the way that it should actually be assessed? And why can't we give credit to the men and women who are away from their families working down there to make things better in Puerto Rico, that work every single day for the government, that were sent down there by the president, who only hear, you're terrible, you're not doing a good job. And so that puts us into these two partisan corners. The president says it was great, and people attack him.
You want to put a flowery bow on it. 2,000 people died. We should not do that. We should not say, okay, well, here's the great, it's great, it's fine.
But
listen,
Don,
I understand
we have the
those
ability
people,
to say both things, right?
The people who go down there and the people who save lives and who go to help, amen. They should get, all kinds of congratulations.
But they don't.
Hang on, please, producers. I need to concentrate. They, of course, should be congratulated. But that's not what this is about. Especially that is insulting to people who lost their lives, their family members. For you to say, oh, why are we congratulating those people? Well, because a lot of people died, and they didn't have to. Listen, I got to run. I'm out of time, and I'm in trouble. But Caitlin, you've been standing by patiently. I'll give you the last word, please.
Well, I just wanted to say that I don't think a lot of people are just criticizing the president, saying that he's responsible completely for everything that happened there in Puerto Rico, but 3,000 people nearly did die, roughly the equivalent of the same amount of people who died on 9/11. That is why the president was being criticized for saying it was an unsung success today, because he wasn't just saying that they did a good job handling Puerto Rico, but he said that they did a better job handling Puerto Rico than they did to the hurricane responses in Texas, things that actually the president and his administration were pretty widely praised for. So I think that is the concern there. Also, the way the president spoke and the differences about how he spoke about people who live in Puerto Rico and people who live in Texas, as if they are two different people and not all Americans. So that was a lot of the concern with what the president said, not all just criticism of his handling of what exactly happened there with the federal contracts, what was done there. It was what the president said about it that raised a lot of scrutiny.
I've got to go. I'm out of time. Much more on this and Florence as we come.